next speaker will be Tioga County Sheriff Tom Young.
Thanks for the invitation, Lauren. We appreciate it greatly. And thank you for being here, folks. The fact that you're here absolutely does reflect that you do care. That's why we're here. We care too. Allow me to share some information with you and maybe educate you a little bit at least about some of the frustrations I've experienced as sheriff with regard to law enforcement. First of all, it's important that you understand that the duties and responsibilities of the sheriff in Pennsylvania are relegated to serving the courts for the most part. We have to serve what's called civil process. We also get out and serve what is called bench warrants or K pieces. And that's one component of the job that I take extremely seriously, because those are the people that are thumbing their nose at the system, that refuse to appear for hearings, that don't abide by the rules of probation and so forth. So we take that very seriously. And this is the ending of the first year of my second term. So I have learned a tremendous amount in the tenure that I have had as your sheriff. What's important to understand and appreciate also is that I come from a long history of municipal law enforcement. I was a police officer for 19 years, and I was the chief of police in Wellsboro for 9 years prior to being asked to run for sheriff. And during that time, I was a hard charger, and I was fervent about pursuing drug-related incidents and actually drug dealers. Since I've taken office as sheriff, I found out that the sheriff really doesn't have the authority that most people think that he does have. As a result of a 2006 Pennsylvania Supreme Court hearing known as Cotco versus Miller, the sheriffs in Pennsylvania have been severely restricted and handcuffed in regard to their ability to investigate crimes. And this I do really feel quite frustrated about, because this is what I was about in the past. We have the ability to get out, like I said, and serve those warrants, but we also have the responsibility to transport inmates and prisoners back and forth from our county prison to the courts to make sure that they appear for their hearings and proceedings and so forth. And later on to state corrections institutions and federal corrections institutions. Also, what we're involved in is serving protection from abuse orders. Those are instances where domestic violence has gotten out of hand and that victim has sought assistance in the way of a protection from abuse order. So that's very critical and it's very important to us as well. But a lot of our responsibility and time is spent in serving those courts. We have the responsibility of securing the courthouse so that we can make sure that the business of the courts is conducted with peace and order and decorum. We have a very small staff at the sheriff's office. I have right now 3 road deputies. Those road deputies are the deputies that go out and help me serve those civil process, those warrants, and transport and transfer those prisoners. And appreciate that that keeps us extremely busy. We are an 8 to 4:30 operation. We're not a 24/7, 365 operation. As much as I would like to see it be that way, there are so many roadblocks and impediments to that I don't know if it's ever going to be possible for the sheriffs in Pennsylvania to recover what's, I guess, commonly referred to as common law and the authority that went with that common law standing. Suffice it to say that what we do, we try to do to the best of our ability. And one of the things that we also try to do when time allows is to assist any law enforcement agency with any detail or any task that they have, whether that's serving search warrants, picking up individuals that they've been looking for as well. And we work with municipal as well as the state police, right? But you please understand that it's not, out of apathy that we don't get more involved. It's because the Supreme Court has seen fit to limit our abilities and our authority. I'm a member of the Pennsylvania Sheriff's Association, an active member. And that group has asked that each of the 67 sheriffs in Pennsylvania please keep a low profile and keep quiet about that lack of authority. What has been trying to be accomplished through that Pennsylvania Sheriff's Association is for them to recover or to redefine, if you will, the authority of the sheriff through the legislation. And in the 5 years that I've been sheriff, I now have a better understanding of how frustratingly slow that legislative process is. And I don't know if it would help to reach out to you folks and ask you to contact your representatives and inquire about that, to try to push that forward or to expedite that. Because certainly the sheriffs in Pennsylvania are concerned, we do care, and we want to be more involved, but quite honestly, that case that I referenced, Copco versus Miller, was out of a disagreement between a sheriff in the western part of Pennsylvania and the then commissioner of the Pennsylvania State Police. And that was about whether or not sheriffs and deputy sheriffs could participate on drug task force. And specifically, the issue was, could deputy sheriffs attend what's called a wiretap school? Okay, that wiretap school certifies officers in the ability to eavesdrop, if you will, or listen into conversations. A lot of times that are drug dealers or organized crime. And in this instance, obviously there's a drug task force, so they were concerned about drug dealers and listening in on them and trying to identify them and ultimately arrest them. The outcome of that case severely handcuffed the ability of the sheriffs to conduct investigations on information received. We can pursue criminal violations that we see, okay? But in as much as that ability to pursue investigations on information received has been impeded, we can't do that. So we are trying to do the best with what we have. It must be said also that law enforcement in Tioga County is very thin. That's not an excuse, that's just a statement of fact. Appreciate that, and appreciate that the resources are strained. All right? And I'll leave you with this. All right? The Pennsylvania State Police are the primary law enforcement entity in the townships in Tioga County. If you see a violation, you gotta report it, as someone else up here had already alluded to. Report it to whoever. Report it to the sheriff's office. Report it to the state police. Report it to your municipal departments. But report it. Don't just say, oh, nobody will do anything about it anyway, or turn a blind eye. All right? Encourage people to report what they see as being something wrong or illegal. Without your help, as has already been said, it's hard for us to catch up with a lot of these people. Okay? So information received is important. Pass it on. Please. Thank you.